Alright, 10 more death metal odds and ends. Start off with a big one first. Exhumed, Slaughter Cult, Score Grind, death grind band, formed in 1990 in California. And this is their second full length. It came out in 2000 out of 10. Main touch points Carcass, of course. I've seen Exhumed live one time, and it was kind of a weird bill. I think they were on with Voivod and Napalm Death, and I think some local band that I can't recall. But I think my favorite Exhumed album is the third one, the one after this, but big fan of this one as well. Obituary, this one's 10,000 Ways to Die. It's kind of a weird release. I don't see reference too much. This came out on Relapse in 2016, and it's basically a live album. I was trying to look this over. Yeah, I haven't played this one in a while. But Obituary, I mean, where do you start? 1988, Florida, one of the, depending on how you look at it, one of the oldest American death metal bands, and definitely one of the biggest, one of the highest selling. World Demise is when I became a fan, but the first two are definitely the best ones. And I've seen Obituary live one time. Wasn't a band I was starting to see live for whatever reason. I think Paul Bearer was opening for them. Kind of a strange combination. But I had fun, and they're actually coming again in a couple months, and it's a pretty, it's like 4 pretty good bands, so I may or may not go to that one. Tithe. This is death metal from Portland. Definitely some doom, grind, and even some black metal influences, but just overall, a very modern death metal album, but very nasty one too. When I first bought this, I gave it several good listens, but I haven't put this on in a month or two, so I'll check that out. I liked it, I didn't love it. Suffering Hour. This is a band from Minnesota. This is their second full length. Came out a couple years ago. I think it's a very interesting take on black and death metal. Just something unique about the songs, and I thought this was a standout release over the last half decade or so. A couple of these bands, I'm definitely maybe stretching it a little bit, but as long as death metal is the dominant part of the sound. Case in point, Withered. They formed in 2003 in Atlanta, and it seems like people kind of look at them as a blackened doom band or something, but I think more than anything it's like death metal meets doom. Kind of slow. And I haven't really kept up with this band, but I like this album. I bought it when I saw them live. I'm pretty sure they were opening for Corrales. And it was a cool show. And I brought a friend who wasn't into metal. When these guys hit the stage, he didn't know what hit him. Kind of a weird release here. De Profundis. This is called Decayed, 2007 to 2017. And I looked it up on Metal Archives, and it does seem to be a real release from them. But I came across this for free in an issue of Zero Tolerance magazine. And De Profundis is a band from England, and I'm not too aware of many of their releases, but they're a mixture of death metal with a bit of black and a bit of doom thrown in. Same as I said about Withered, although I'd say these guys are maybe more melodic, a little faster, but totally different sound. Okay, kind of getting into the death metal sludge category here with Coffin Worm. This is their first of 2 albums, and they broke up in 2016. Again, I want to see online what people called this, and Blackened Sludge is what came up, but I think it's more just sludgy death metal with a bit of a black metal atmosphere, but definitely more death metal, I think. And I gotta look at this in a different context. Just for some reason, I always told myself that Charlie Fell was the vocalist here, and I just looked it up, and he was not. I don't know why. I always had this impression that Coffin Worm and Lord Mantis were like connected bands, but they're from different cities. So I was wrong. More in this broad style, Wolfhammer. This is the Obsidian Plains. This is their second of 4 full lengths. They're still around today. They're an American band. And again, the consensus seems to be Blackened Sludge, but I think of it as a Death Sludge album for sure. Okay, I'm familiar with their second and third albums. I haven't heard of the first or the fourth. Okay, big name here. Black Dahlia Murder. Melodic death metal for sure. They're from Michigan. This is the second of 9 albums, Miasma. And it seems to be a fan favorite. I remember I bought this. It kind of struck me as something I wouldn't be interested in, but the town I was going to college in, they had one old music store, and they didn't have a ton of metal, but I think I brought this up before. But they had most Metal Blade releases when they came out. So one day I walked around, and this was the most promising one I could find. So I took it home, and I'd say it's a solid album. It's solid. It's fun. When I've heard a song here and there from this band, I always thought it was cool. A lot of young guys I met over the years, they've definitely been in this band. And one time, a younger guy that I worked with, he came with me to see them opening for Carcass. And, I thought it was a good show. And rest in peace to Trevor. By all accounts, a nice guy. A real supporter of the scene, and had a lot of love for metal. It's too bad. And they're also coming to town in maybe 2 weeks with a couple cool opening bands, so that's a maybe. Finally, Cattle Decapitation, a death grind band from San Diego, formed in 1996. This is their debut full-length, To Serve Man. I'm not really sure where this ranks amongst Cattle Decapitation fans. I'm not sure. But it's like the Black Dahlia Murder. It doesn't sound like them. This is definitely more grindy and heavier. But it's just a band that started in the same era, and I always thought they were okay, but I never really kept up with them outside of the early days. But they've gone on to do big things. So that's it. Some kind of death metal odds and ends. Thanks.